There's been a lot of talk about a stock market crash lately. I've been seeing articles about it, seeing it on CNBC, on TV. Everyone's talking about it. So, is there a stock market crash coming, and what should you do if that happens? Well, I'll tell you what most financial advisors would recommend you do. I am not a financial advisor, but for most situations, if you're a long term investor, you are not supposed to sell during a crash. You're really not supposed to sell practically ever until you have reached your retirement date or desired time to start taking money out to use it as income or pass it on to your kids or whatever you're doing with that money. Um, so, if the stock market is crashing, long story short, you should not be selling. Do not buy into the panic. Do not worry about your long term investments because over the long term, stocks make money. The general stock market, right? Maybe not individual stocks always, right? There's going to be some hits, there's going to be some misses, but if you're investing in index funds that track the entire stock market, you are going to make money over the long term if you hold that investment long enough. I mean, if we zoom out, I have the S&P 500 pulled up on the screen right now. You can see this little pullback that we've had over the last couple weeks, basically 2022. We have broken down under a key trend line that I have been following, so that is not good news. We really wanted to see that blue line right there hold and act as support, as a floor, and bounce off of it and keep going. So breaking under it is bad news. I would love to see the S&P 500 climb back above that blue line. It would make me a lot more comfortable. Am I selling my retirement fund right now and going into cash? No. Here's why. Over the long term, stocks go up, right? If you hold long enough. This right here, what you're seeing right here on the screen, is the pandemic crash in February and March of 2020, right? That was a massive sell-off. It was panic-driven, fear-driven, and there were some legitimate reasons, right? I mean, there was a global pandemic going on. Everybody was selling their stocks and moving to cash because there was a lot of uncertainty in the air, right? If you don't know what's coming next, that is fearful. People fear uncertainty. So it makes sense, this sell-off. But what happens right after? Everybody bought right back in, and we were right back to going straight back up in the stock market, right? If we continue to zoom out, and this is daily candlesticks, I need to bump out to the monthly candlesticks. Now every candlestick on the screen is 1 month of data. This right here is the pandemic, right? Now it's starting to look a lot smaller in comparison to the history of the stock market, right? Let's look at the entirety of the stock market. Well, we can't see a whole lot because of how much we have gained in the stock market over the last 20 to 30 years compared to history. So in TradingView, you right click on your axis right here and you go down to logarithmic, and that will put the entirety of the stock market on a more even scale so that you can see it all on your screen. Okay, and this starts back in 1872. And there's a point to this story, so stick with me. I want to start at the beginning. Look at how flat the stock market was in the beginning, right? I mean, you could go 20 years and not make a penny in the stock market if you held long term, right? And then around 1900, you got a big rise in prices. People made money in that time frame, and then it was flat all the way until the mid 20s. Pretty crazy stuff. And then we saw a huge spike in prices all the way up to 1929, and then we had the major crash, really kind of the first major crash of the stock market in 1929. And then we picked back up from there, and we trickled sideways. Not a whole lot of money being made going sideways here, but something happened in around 1942 called World War II, where we really saw an industrial boom in America, and that sent the stock market flying to the upside ever since 1942, and it has not let up since then. So we're talking about 80 years of data that suggests if you stay in the stock market, you will make money long term. if you're invested in index funds, right? A basket, a diversified set of stocks, not just picking just Tesla or just Apple. Those may be great picks, but it's not certain, right? There's not 100% certainty. Whereas we have 80 years of data here on the screen showing us with pretty much 100% certainty that if you hold long enough, you will be fine. Do not buy into the panic, because what happens when you sell during a crash? Well, let's zoom back into the pandemic crash. Look how tiny it looks on the screen right now compared to the history of the stock market. Isn't that incredible? Let's zoom back into this crash. If you rode stocks all the way up and then it started to crash and you sold at the bottom of the crash, you just sold at the lowest price. That is exactly opposite of what you should be doing, selling at the highest price, right? So the point here is not to sell when stock prices are low, right? You should be buying. At the very minimum, you should be holding your investment and trying not to worry. Try not to look at the stock market every day when it's red every day. And if you can scrape up more cash, that's the time to be buying, right? Because you're buying things at a discount. You know, maybe Apple was $150 last week and now it's $100 because the stock market just crashed. It's a $50 discount, right? You should be buying more at that point. And that's how you make even more money long term. So this is something that I have to remind myself every once in a while. Try not to worry about these dips, corrections, and potential crashes. I have to remind myself of that. So this is another video to put out there to remind you guys. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but what most financial advisors would say is to not worry about these corrections, not worry about these crashes. If you're invested for the long term, try to even buy more if you can. All right, that's what I got for this video. I hope you guys liked it. I'll see you in the next one.